Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you to talk to you about you and your business. As you know, we're doing a series of interviews. The response overwhelming about potential new radio programs, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed the many interviews we've done, and we're looking at collaboration projects and that type of thing, and today looks like another interesting one for us to talk about on a topic that's become so incredibly timely, which is anti-bullying, and plus he covers a lot of other important issues. Walter Meyer, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're a speaker, writer, and anti-bullying champion. I like that. That's a good way.
Well, I do too, and I can't say as I set out to be an anti-bullying champion, but my last novel actually was about kids being bullied, and suddenly I was getting requests to speak and write about this timely topic all over the country.
Well, I think that's great. Tell us a little bit about your background, your larger background in business.
Well, I've been a business consultant for years. My first book actually was a sales book I wrote, Going for the Green, Selling in the 21st Century. And since then, I've been a consultant. And then out of this bullying, that topic, I have spoken to, Raytheon, Cricket, Wireless, and, the Equality Professionals Network, numerous other places about this timely topic, because companies certainly see that as a liability if they let it go on in their corporations.
Yeah, very good. Tell us a little bit about your show idea.
Well, my show idea would actually be partially including that, but also I'm working on a book now that sort of accidentally came about from having been interviewed by Business Week, U.S. News and World Report, all of those sorts of things about different aspects of business that no one seems to be getting in business school anymore, of how to do a decent PowerPoint, how to do a conference call even. One of the tips was I'm sitting here with a pen and paper in hand, that if you say something, I can jot it down so I can respond to it. Little things like that, the little pluses that no one seems to be getting in business school. And I have so many younger friends or sons of and daughters of, people I know saying, well, how do you do an interview? How do you speak up at a board meeting? What are you supposed to say when? And so it would be all of those little things, and I'm privileged to know a number of very good business authors that I would love to have on the show and have them talk about their area of expertise as well.
Tell me where you are in that process. Are you, is it mainly in the idea stage, or are you already begun to plan it? What kind of format would you do it in terms of, or platform would you use? Kind of give us that kind of sense.
I am, in the planning stages. I haven't taken it any further than that. I'm actually in the midst of finishing a book right now, plus coaching someone else to write their business book. And so once that's done, I want to be able to devote more time to this. But right now it's sort of in the planning stages of how it would come about. And, obviously with so many of the online radio networks now, it is so much easier to launch something like that than it used to be. And I know several people who have become quite successful making the leap from the online platform to broadcast radio stations.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you envision it, I assume, being a weekly type program?
Probably to start, yes, although there clearly is no shortage of guests out there and shortage of information to impart. And then if it took off, and again, I know people who have done this, they started as a weekly, and eventually it became 5 days a week. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, whole websites becoming essentially networks, media networks.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see the blending of media, how, the airwaves become the internet and vice versa, and blogs become radio shows.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly moving in that direction. So who is the list of your first 4 or 5 guests you'd love to have on a program like that?
Well, Catherine Tice wrote a book called Back Off, Your Kick-Ass Guide to Ending Workplace Bullying, and she and I have worked on a number of projects together. I'd love to have her on. She speaks all over the world, actually, about workplace bullying. Working on a book right now called The Respectful Leader by Greg Ward, and Greg is, consults all over the country about leadership issues, and actually takes actors into corporations to demonstrate better behavior. And Chris Witt, who wrote Real Leaders Don't Do PowerPoint, is a friend also, and he wrote it probably 6 years ago, and it's still selling quite well because his point is well taken. Too many people are much too dependent on their presentations to have really nothing to say. So there's a number of people like that I would like to have on to share their ideas.
Yeah, very, very good. Well, I'm glad you had an opportunity to share with us today. I look forward to seeing how that goes. If you sounds like when you launch it, do you have like a estimated date as to when it would launch?
It would actually probably not be until early next year. I do have the one book that I'm working on right now, which is another person I'd like to have a guest. He's actually a CEO of a corporation who went to prison, started doing yoga in prison, and now started a nonprofit to take yoga to PTSD vets, people in prisons, and people in recovery. So I have to finish that book. I'm working with Greg Ward on his book, and so there's a couple other things I need to wrap up first, but in the meantime, I am constantly jotting ideas and thoughts of where this would go.
Yeah, well, very good. Well, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Walter Meyer, by the way, you can learn more about him at his website, Walter, WALTERG, Meyer, MEYER.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you having me.
When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here does show up over there at usdatareview.com. And you're listening to The Price of Business.